Oh, word, you already know. I heard that pop.
Clink, clink.
All right. This is Inside with Outsiders. I'm Jeremy Asgari. You can't see Chris. He's behind the scenes. He's the producer of the show, director of the show, one of those things. Anyway, our special guest today is Christian Venn.
Yo, what up, what up, what up?
Detroit's finest.
You already know.
Yeah. And the cheesiest man we've had on this interview series.
Just a heads up, if you want, the camera's like literally.
Oh, I didn't even know where
You
the
can
camera
stare,
is
you can
at.
stare right in that camera and talk to it.
That'd be the camera.
You already know.
Yeah.
Dr. Venn.
Dr. Venn. So I know we're going to find out a lot about you today in this interview, but how the hell did you come up with Dr. Venn as your Instagram handle?
So would you want to actually believe? So majority everyone in my family, now my dads, my uncles, all have PhDs. So when I was a kid, they always called me, oh, doctor, mister, you gonna be a doctor? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then I hit like 5th grade and understood what a doctor was. And I was like, nah, that ain't happening.
So your Instagram handle should be Disappointment Venn.
Pretty much. I'll maybe in the next IG handle, I'll get it to
I'm
that
kidding.
one.
Well, whatever replaces IG, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll save that for the next social media platform that comes out.
Okay. All right, so you're from Detroit.
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Born in Philly, moved to Detroit when I was in, first grade, 2nd grade?
Oh, I didn't know you were born in Philly.
Yeah.
You got family there? Your parents were there for?
I got family in Philly, majority. Yeah, on my
Really?
mom's side, yeah.
Okay, what's your background? What's your ethnic background?
My dad is from Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
West Africa. My mom is from Philly.
Okay. Do you speak any other languages?
No, so my dad wanted us to be as Americanized and culturally not shunned, but just accepted. So
Yeah.
we kind of kept most of that,
Well, I mean, that doesn't make sense as adults. Obviously, now you know.
Oh,
that.
no,
Yeah.
of course not. But I think it's more just fitting in, I think he just, kind of, what's the word for it?
Does he speak? He obviously
Yeah, he speaks Creole.
And was that
Creole.
Creole? Is
Not
that
the
speak
same
French too?
as, no, it's not the same as New Orleans. It's just,
No, I know.
Yeah.
Does he speak French as well?
He speaks 5 different languages. So he speaks Creole, English, German, French, and Russian.
Oh, why?
He went to university in Russia.
What's he do for a living?
He studied nuclear engineering. And he has a PhD in physics.
Wow.
Yeah. So as you can see, majority of my uncles there, also one of my uncles has the same name as me, Christian. He actually got a civil engineering award in Virginia, because he developed some system. I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah. So
that's your father's brother?
Yeah, my dad's brother. Yeah.
Jeez. So
background of a lot of smart people, and I guess this might skip a generation.
So what was it? I'm going to ask more questions about Pops now. What was, so from Sierra Leone, he went to university in Russia. What brought him?
So obviously he comes from a third world country, it's not really a good place to kind of grow up, with, big ambitions. But at the time, Russia was trying to bring in, immigrants that were smart. So you get a scholarship to go to, at the time it was called the Friendship University, weird name. But yeah, so you got a scholarship to go there, study nuclear engineering, and the whole hopes for Russia was we get these guys in, they're smart, and then we'll keep them.
Right.
And then and put them in with
Well, that didn't happen. What in regards to your dad staying there, he went for university, did he live there a little bit longer?
No, so he got his PhD in physics there, and then he came to the U.S. to continue his education. He went to Temple in Philly. That's where he met my mom.
Okay.
And yeah.
What was your mom doing?
My mom went to Temple, was studying, forgot what it was, but she ended up having kids and dropping out, so.
Okay, are you the firstborn?
No. I'm not. I'm the last. I'm the youngest.
Really?
Youngest and best looking. There's.
This is gonna be an interview. Are you thirsty, buddy? Let's crack these open.
Fat tire. I'm the youngest of 4.
So, what do your brothers do? Are your brothers are doctors?
No. I told you, it skips a generation.
Oh, skips a generation. What do your brothers do?
My oldest brother and my two oldest brothers, they work in construction, demolition. And my brother above me, he works for, I think it's Pepsi. He does like some type of laboring job there. I don't know exactly what it is.
So is there anyone, because you, from what I've known you for, I've actually known you for a long time, but we never really hung out and
Yeah,
had
outside of
conversations,
the club.
Yeah, we met in the club, right? And I see you all the time in the club,
Yeah.
and it was mutual friends, obviously, club life.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until I'd say I forced you to come to the Outsiders.
Yeah.
I saw you out in the club, and
Yeah.
I was telling you about
He's
it.
like,
and-
buy the ticket.
And I was like, buy the ticket. He's like, no, I will. I'm like, no, I grabbed his phone. I said, buy the ticket. I forced him to buy the ticket.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm glad I did that, though.
Yeah,
Because
man.
you actually showed up, and then you came to more on your own.
Yeah, I definitely probably was not going to show up if I didn't buy that ticket,
Yeah.
so it was a good thing.
Probably definitely, I know you weren't.
I was like, 4 whiskeys deep, of course. I
Yeah,
was
that's
to
right.
say,
4, you just started your night, huh?
Yeah, it must have been on at like 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. It was fun. And it led up right into, COVID, which was a great time to even like dive into it even more.
Yeah.
And kind of get outside my bubble of doing the same old shit every weekend.
Yeah,
So,
and it was great because that's when we got to know each other. Like, I've known him for years, but like, I didn't know he was such a smart ass. Like, I didn't know he was
Yeah.
such a creative dude, to be honest. Like, yeah, I didn't know what you did for a living. You run into people all the time, and not just in nightlife, but
yeah.
people you see on a regular basis that have no clue what their life is really like and what they do for a living. And I joked around about the disappointment you're not a doctor, but you hold a really high position for your company. In my opinion, and whatever you may say, I think.
No, I agree.
And you have a position that now you've asked you for your advice on helping me with certain things as far as approaching partners for outsiders.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I work in fashion, work in the industry, and
You want to mention your company or not?
yeah, we'll get there. Gotta
Okay.
get a little
Yeah,
build
do
up,
your
and
thing.
then I played sports growing up. I ended up, first year going to ASU, playing football, and never knew that, a life in fashion could be, actual career.
Were you a scholarship athlete?
Yes.
Division I scholarship athlete.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, obviously most of you should know this, but Division I scholarship athletes are basically professional athletes, more or less. Their lifestyle.
Yeah,
It takes up all your time. You're there to play a sport,
it's 100%.
and
your
school
time.
is secondary.
Yeah. So during the season, like you don't have a life. It's
Right.
pretty much, it's training, it's practice, it's the little time you do have extras, you do the studying.
Right. And from what I remember you saying, we've had many conversations, is you went there specifically not just for football because it was a party school. It's the number 1 party school in the nation at the time, right?
Yes, ASU, and this was in the early 2000s, back when Girls Gone Wild was in
Yeah.
its heyday.
And was that what was Girls Gone Wild? I mean, kind of what attracted you going to ASU?
No, that's kind of a jokes like drinking story, but
Right.
like more importantly, my friend went there. He was like, "Yo, you got to come here." I got the opportunity with the scholarship. I was trying to choose between what schools, and I was like, "Let me go there." This is like my best friend. So I was like, it's warm, it's far away from home. Like I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to be independent and stuff. So it was definitely, a spot that I kind of wanted to go to outside of just like, oh, Girls Gone Wild. But
Right.
obviously that was in the back of my head.
But you came from Detroit, so was ASU a culture shock somehow or not?
Oh, 100% culture shock. Like I ain't never gone somewhere and just like seen mountains in the back, the back
Right.
landscape. It's crazy. The heat, the lack of kind of like nature, like everything's kind of tonal and kind of earth tones.
Oh yeah.
Um,
See, this guy thinks it's a very creative mind. Like, no, I'm serious. Like the way you described it, you're describing these earth tones, tonal stuff.
yeah.
And beyond the landscape, what about like the people you encountered?
That's another thing. It was like I came from a very diverse kind of area in Michigan because like obviously Motor City, where I grew up, it was most people their parents worked for one of the car companies. So you get a lot of people from different backgrounds, like India, China, because they're all engineers, and
right. This is like a huge Chaldean, Iraqi population.
Yes, and Dearborn. Yes, a lot of
yeah.
Middle Esterns. I probably can speak a little bit of Arabic. Yalla Gakba, Ishi, like some little shit like that. Whatever swear words they taught me back then. and I forgot where the
We're
direction.
talking about
we're at.
the diversity.
Yeah,
in
so the
Arizona.
diverse in, Michigan, and then to get to kind of Arizona and the whole Tempe, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's like 99.9 white,
Yeah.
and like with no like cultural.
You know what's funny? You're a basketball fan.
Yeah.
What shirt are you wearing, by the way? Hockey?
No, this is actually Michigan Detroit Blues Festival that I used to go with my dad all the time. So
Nice.
kind of as a
I
personal
thought
touch.
you were wearing a sports shirt for a second.
Oh, no.
But what's interesting is when you see, I'm a huge basketball fan. I know you're a basketball fan as well. You look at the crowd in different cities,
Yeah.
and without fail, Utah, Phoenix, and I think kind of Portland as well. The crowd is very one-dimensional. You know?
Yeah. It's definitely a kind of a culture shock, diversity shock, and even worse about it is like there's no gun laws there. Like you can just it's a wild, wild west there. So like kids just come packing straps. Like you didn't need to have a permit to have a concealed weapon. And
crazy.
it's always like kind of like the mama's boy, fucking no social skills are coming up shooting up the parties. And that's
you witnessed that?
yeah, all the time. That shit was
And
nothing.
a lot of shootings and deaths?
Not like shooting like pop shooting someone, but like they'll just like come shoot up in the air, or like they'll pull out the guns if there's a conflict. I'm always like first. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I was like,
I mean, especially
I'm out.
with those guns, I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like one of the main reasons why I was like, all right, when I had the opportunity to change schools, I dipped out.
And you left after 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year.
But how did you feel like? Listen, as an athlete and somebody who especially Division I athlete, a lot of your identity is defined by your sport, right? And you left the sport.
Yeah, I think for a majority of people I played with, through high school, middle school, college, that was them.
Yeah.
I never actually felt that personally. I was just good at it, so that was just easy direction to kind of follow into. I never really felt like an athlete. Like I remember in high school, like after the games, we were supposed to take the bus back and like have a kind of a team meeting. And our games were always on Fridays, so those are where the parties are at. So I'm like, yo, I'm jumping in my boy's car, we're going to the party, and I always get in trouble. But yeah, like, or when like we lose a game, they're like mad people would cry, and like I never like had that emotional connection to the sport. I just enjoyed playing it because it was fun, but the whole kind of structure of it, I never really enjoyed.
But the whole time, were you kind of more of an artistic mind even back then?
It was. I feel like I was good at everything, not great at anything type thing. Where like, oh shit. Like from a kid, my parents put me in art class. They noticed that I was always, doodling and stuff. Like, so I always had a natural ability to draw.
Well, that's great, and you're fortunate, especially given parents that were, at least on your dad's side,
Yeah.
PhD, nuclear physicists and so on.
Yeah.
The fact that they acknowledged the fact that you had a talent and didn't force you into their lane.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I give my parents props to. They've always supported me no matter what my kind of like ambitions or direction was. Even they thought it was kind of silly, but they always made sure that, no matter what I did, I had to have a plan, and they made me write it out. And I had to have it, step by step, how I would get there, what I'm going to do with it, and like blah, blah, blah. So
what were you going to major in at ASU?
So I was already majoring in mass communications.
Okay. And when you left ASU, where'd you go?
FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology.
So why'd you decide on New York? Why'd you decide on FIT?
So this might sound similar to the reason why we already discussed why I went to ASU, but one of my good friends, he had already went to FIT. He's like, yo, come out to New York. The school is bad. It's fucking, you get to work in fashion. And like, we're always battle each other with what we would wear and shit. So he already knew I was into that. Right. But he's like, yo, it's 90% girls, 9% of that 10% of dudes are gay. Like, it's a free for all here. And I was like, New York.
That was like the oil tank for promoters to go find their
oh
goal,
yes, the promoter, the young cheesy promoters that would bust out there all in front of the doors.
They go there and just like that's their gold mine, I should say.
Yeah,
gold mine.
Yeah. I got some stories from that school. Like you would think from ASU I would have the crazy stories. FIT.
I've got crazy stories from FIT.
Well, I did have crazy stories from ASU, but yeah, FIT was 10 times. But I guess I was
Right.
there longer, but yeah.
But on top of that, also, you're in New York City, as opposed to having crazy party town, but it's crazy party school, but you're still in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah, well, there's more competition in New York. And that was the one thing I kind of found out too, because like I would be like, oh, bag, they're one of the baddest chicks, but you can't really lock them down because they got a million fucking dudes are doing something's 10 times better than you, 10 times better looking than you. They got 10 times more money. Like there's always someone, doper and, better off than you in New York. And that's like, one of the kind of the gauntlets you got to go through in Arizona. You got a bunch of fucking, people that haven't left, their city.
Yeah.
All right, so what they say is if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I've gone through a lot of friends that just haven't cut it in New York, which is crazy because like my first 10 years in New York, every year is like some of them just get cut off, like they don't make the fucking squad.
what are those reasons for them not making it?
It's hard in New York, financial reasons, family reasons, getting a job that's actually
Right.
pays enough to actually live in New York.
Honestly, like, and this is gonna sound cruel, and I do have an advantage in this since I grew up here, right?
Mm.
So I can't say that it's. I understand I have an advantage there. So, but I do enjoy seeing implants come here and like rage and go crazy and act above, especially living the fact that I grew up in like living in Jersey. I went to school in Manhattan for the most part and then in Jersey as well. But like, I live in Jersey City. So when I hear these implants coming, like scoffing at the fact that they're in Jersey, but then a year later I see them running back to Minnesota because they can't hack it here. It just gives me this pleasure. I love it. I love seeing that. But I've also seen the dark side of people not making it, getting caught up in the club scene,
Yes, that's another big part of it.
ODing, or just losing their job, losing their money. So no, I understand it's hard. And I guess when you came to New York, being the fact that your parents want to make you have a plan, and you went to FIT and you changed, what did they make? Did they make you write out a plan for your New York idea?
Yeah, definitely.
And what did you write?
I don't remember, but I was like, this is the school I'm going to. This is, how long is it?
Were you like annoyed? Oh, fine, I'm going to this school. I'm going to study. Or were you actually writing out a thorough plan? Like, all right, I really should know what I'm doing.
I was annoyed,
Right.
but I know my dad's not going to accept no bullshit fucking
Right.
plan. So at that point, I knew I couldn't just like bullshit. So
Yeah.
I'm like half-ass shit. So, and at that time too, I realized this is something that's going to help me. So I was like kind of into it, kind of explaining, because then that actually gave me a plan.
Right.
I'm like, all right, actually, I haven't thought about this
Yeah.
because I just agreed with my friends I'm going to move out there
Right.
and told my parents, and I had no plan. And then I was like, oh, I actually got to think about this.
Yeah.
So it actually, worked out for the best. Who would have known? Your parents know best. Like, it's crazy.
So you go to FIT. Is there anything about those FIT years that stands out with you right now?
Yeah, living in the dorms, which were co-ed.
Yep.
The funny was like they tried to get me to play for the basketball team, which I didn't even know they had a
They
basketball
have,
team.
did they?
The
Wait,
FIT Tigers.
They do. They have a
Yeah.
basketball team.
Yeah,
Really?
they did. I don't think they do anymore, but
What
yeah.
conference are they in?
I think they like played other like I don't know, like community colleges and stuff. Like
I
nothing
guess because
serious.
they weren't in the CUNY conference, and I don't think they're NYU's got the best D3 conference. They fly to their games.
Well, FIT is a SUNY school.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I doubt they're playing other SUNY schools.
No. But I think they were playing like
BMCC.
the community colleges in the areas.
Yeah.
They weren't playing like.
Yeah, it would make sense. Listen, based on the demographic you described.
Well, I think they gave scholarships as well.
Really?
So the ones that are playing on the team weren't like any FIT students.
They might act. I wonder what division they are. But all right.
And they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a scholarship." I'm just like, "Yo, the tuition here ain't shit. Like, I ain't worried about
Oh,
it."
there's SUNY, right?
Yeah, it was mad cheap, And like once you establish residency, it was even super. So like, it's but yeah, that was funny.
And after college, I mean, unless you have another college story.
Nothing that I want to like
Then you want to share? You
put on
sure?
the internet. Nothing I want to put on the internet.
What did you do after college? How long did it take you to find a job, a place to settle
It
in?
definitely took me. Well, I guess I was kind of just like definitely got caught up into the nightlife.
You
Obviously.
did? Yeah, that's how
It wasn't caught up, but like
I thought you were a promoter when I met you.
everyone thought so.
No, I mean not exactly. I just saw. Like, I knew you weren't. I kind of knew you weren't, but I knew you ran with promoters because I saw you every night, and I'm like, who is this tall dude? Like, who's out all the time? You were cool though. Like, I met you through. I think I might met you through Brandon.
Yeah, or Necky or someone. Yeah, same crowd.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's funny. So when I was in school, I was working at Scoop, which is like a retail store in downtown New York. No longer exists. But this one guy used to always come into the store and hit on my manager. She was, good-looking, attractive lady. And I remember this one time, he's like, hey, is one of us here? I was like, nah, bro. Like, why are you always coming in here, like, sweating my boss?
You said that to him?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
And I was like, I'm like, do you work around here? He's like, oh, yeah, I got a club around the corner. And he owned this club called Air.
Really?
This is Mark Birnbaum.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, oh.
So
I'm
Mark
thinking,
Birnbaum hitting on the manager makes sense. It was Mark Birnbaum.
So I'm like, yo, you could hook me up with a job. Like, I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to, like, get a job.
Yeah.
Like, corporate type job. I was like, he's like, yeah, come by, bring your resume. So I'm like, all right, bet. And I go in there. He's like, come this time. I was like 9 o'clock. Like, why is he going to be coming at 9 o'clock? But anyways, go there. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of busy now here, but here, have a table, bring some people, da-da-da. And I'm like, all right. So I bring, like, all the, like, FIT girl.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, come back tomorrow, da-da-da. He's like, all right, you're going to be your promoter. I was like, nah, bro. I was looking for, like, a real job.
Oh, my God. You just threw
No
away 15 years of my life. You just like, I wasn't real. What were you doing for 15 years? I don't know. I'm just hanging out, I guess. I wasted my life.
But yeah, that was like kind of a funny story there. And like,
yeah, it's hilarious.
That worked for my advantage. I've known, he was cool. And then every club he kind of opened, every time I saw him, he always like hooked me up and got me in and stuff. So.
Oh, was that was your in? That was your first in?
Well, I had my own personal in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, just like getting to know door guys and stuff like WESC, the OG, fucking, I can't remember all the different names of the dudes, but yeah, like everyone from Marquee, everyone from like Kane and all these old spots, and then they just
shout out to Shakara from Kane.
Yeah. I think it was Henry or something. Look at the
Wouldn't FIT be an in? Because I mean, it's FIT. It's a fashion institute.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, because you get deaded because you're a dude. Like,
yeah,
no matter
your in would be to walk in with like.
Because the girls are like, sorry, you can't come. Like,
oh yeah.
No, because your promoters is like, we only bring in girls. Like.
Yeah, forgot about that. It's been about 2 years now.
Especially, and these are like these are rookie promoters too, who are just like had their like business cards or like with their fake little like titles on their shit, like director of hospitality.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
Get a real job.
Nah, but I used to hate that shit because it's like these dudes come swooping up all the chicks, and I was like, yo, I've been putting in work for days.
But you need the magic of a free bottle and free into a club. I mean, that changes things.
Oh, 100%. So, yeah.
Oddly enough and unfortunately enough, that's what changes things. So that was like your lead into this kind of how we met and your whole social life as a New Yorker pretty much until...
Yeah, and I think it's all my friends worked in the kind of the industry. Yeah.
How'd you meet Necky? How'd you meet
Necky's the first person I met in New York, actually.
What?
So, yeah,
really?
Crazy. So my friend... who brought me to New York. It was like we're in there for summer. I had to like go speak to the dean of admissions. I had to go talk my way in. Like I came like last second. I had to like bullshit a portfolio.
Really?
I had to talk my way in. Yeah.
You were like what, 20 at the time?
I was like 19. Yeah.
You pulled that off. Okay.
So my friend, he was like, yes, I got to do a portfolio. So I bullshit that in. And then I'm just like, kind of a charismatic person, kind of, talk my way into, whatever situation I need to be. And it worked out.
Talk your way out of any situation.
Yeah, in or out, whatever it requires. But when I was there during the summertime, my friend who's from the Necky already, he's like, yo, this is Necky. He had his long hair, his fucking tan with like, I think he had like a boombox. He's like, yo, I'm going to the beach. I was like, what? Who the fuck is this character?
Yeah. He hasn't changed a bit, by the way.
Yeah. This was like, I don't know, like 2002 or something.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Right. Well, let's hear about the history of your professional career, though.
Oh, so let's see here. Graduate, worked retail, kind of just like partied a while and kind of like in and out of like, stupid jobs. Did a little
All in fashion or retail?
retail and modeling. The cliche New York. I had a girlfriend at the time who was, legit model. She's like, "Oh, you should come. Like, you can easily get some jobs." And I was like, "What? I don't know about this." And I was
How long ago was this? Like 50 pounds ago?
So, this is 50 plus pounds ago.
Yeah. Because you were skinny as hell when I met you.
Yeah,
You were walking around like a lanky.
yeah,
Lanky
man.
style.
Like I'm getting the old man weight now. That's
Yeah, I
just
see
like
that.
it's in the bones. You see my
Old
uncles.
man, wait, how old are you?
Dude, I'll be 40 next year. Don't let the
Hey.
face fool you.
All right.
By the way, this man's hair is great, but his hair
Yes.
is similar to mine.
Shout out to Just for Men's hooking it up.
No lie, he's got grades like I do or more.
Yeah, no,
And
yeah,
it looks
I'm-
good on him, but now he looks like he's 20 because he's got this.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, dude. You look young as hell right now.
Yeah, I think I had the kind of the Benjamin Button thing because when I was a kid, I looked like I was a grown man.
Yeah.
I was the one buying booze for everybody, like in like 8th grade. And I remember once I was at church with my mom, and this was like after she got divorced, and one of her friends was like, "Ooh, Diane, who's your new man?" I was like, "Who's you talking about?" She's like, "Is your new boyfriend?" I was like, well, "First of all, pause. This is my mom." She's like, "Oh, sorry." But yeah, I was like, 6'4" and like since like 5th grade.
I'm gonna say this again. Do you know how tall I was when I was 14?
Oh yeah, you was just a little scrimp, right?
4'11" at 14.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
Oh man, that must have been rough.
it was.
But yeah, so I looked old until I don't know. I guess I hit like 20, and then I guess kind of started like Benjamin
Go back.
Button.
Maybe just stay looking the same.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
go. You should go gray again eventually.
Yeah. I think it's just with the the braids. It doesn't look right. So once I just like when I take them out, I'll
It's
go back.
true. Dudes-
Gray braids look good on women. I see a lot of chicks. with
Someone has a
gray-
fetish.
Yeah.
No, it's not a
He's like,
fetish, dude, it's not
He's
a
in the next question. Yo, Christian, let me see your toes.
Yeah. So I don't even remember again.
So you're talking about your professional career. You went from like
Oh
crappy
so I was
job to retail.
Yeah, I was jumping around, was doing like girls. She was like, and I remember, I was like, she's like, all right, here. So she introduced me to her talent director. He's like, oh, take off your shirt. And I was like, man, this sounds sketchy as fuck. Taking off my shirt. She's like, no,
Let me see those toes.
Don't worry. After we're done here, we got the casting couch in the back.
There you go.
So yeah, like sent me off on a casting, got my first thing. It was like a Coke commercial.
Really? Your first thing was a Coke commercial?
Yeah.
Not bad.
And then I think I have a few on my phone. I'll show you afterwards.
I'm good.
No, they're not. They're like it's not like fashion modeling. I did like a lot of commercials.
Commercial,
So
yeah.
yeah. So that worked out, and that allowed me to get even deeper into the nightlife world because I didn't have to be up in the morning. I got like a fat check here, fat check
Yeah,
there, and just
exactly.
chilled. And then that kind of get old fast, and I was like, all right, no, like after like a year or two, I was like, all right, let me like
So you
focus.
did the modeling thing for like 2 years?
It wasn't like it was just like here and there. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't consistent. Definitely wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
It was like every once in a while I need some money, I'll go in. I'm like, hey, what do you got? I go in castings, and it probably lasted I don't know maybe like 5 years of doing that. But then like the jobs just got like less glamorous and less glamorous. Like, oh, we got this, or you have to do like a auto show or something. I was like, I'm good. I think this is a wrap for me.
I mean, you started off pretty high with Coca-Cola, and then
Yeah, I got a music video as well. I did a lot of kind of like editorials for like the old school magazines like Details. Also kind of pioneered the digital age. I did a few digital magazines. Was it like menstyle.com, which was like one of like the first ones.
Trendsetter.
So I'm out here.
And
doing
then
things.
when that ended and you went into like actual career, what made you decide your career path? Like, how did that unfold?
I think it was just trial and error. At first, I wanted to do copywriting for like magazines. That's what kind of like what I was like thought I wanted to do, and 'cause
Yeah.
this was like that's the fashion I knew. was from just like looking in magazines and like, oh, this is dope. I like this, this, and this. And from there, I remember I was working retail, and the owner, he's like, dude, you sell a shitload. Like, you ever thought about, coming working corporate for me and doing distribution, da-da-da? I was like, well, I don't even know what that is. And he had me do like a few trials and came up to the office and whatnot. And that's when I kind of learned the kind of ropes. But nothing kind of like came to fruition from that. And then
That never actually panned out?
no, like they ended up going under. This is a company called Ernest Stone, like a denim company.
Okay.
They ended up getting bought out and then kind of fading away. But then again, nightlife kind of came in. So my friend, he was a buyer at Barney's.
Yeah.
And one of his accounts was Creative Recreation.
Yo, they were huge.
This
for a
was,
while.
this was like 2006, 2007.
You remember they had such a buzz. I'm surprised that did they fold?
So I think it's just a natural kind of like kind of lifespan of brands. Unless you become an iconic brand,
Yeah.
like you go your ups, your downs, and then you kind of like fizzle out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they was like one of the first kind of like lifestyle sneaker brands, kind of like luxury at the time.
Right.
Like they had Kanye, like kind of like within one of their ads and stuff. Was crazy. But anyways, we in Vegas, or he had to go out to Vegas for a show, and he's like, "If you want me to place a big order, you got to pay for my friend to come too, because he was my roommate at the time."
Yeah.
So they paid for us to come out to Vegas. We're out there partying, having a good time, and then they're like, "Hey, we're actually opening up East Coast office because they're based out in LA." I was like, "Yo, hook me up with a job." And they just thought that's like the fun guy.
Right.
I was like, no, like I've actually, went to school, like I have a background in this. So I ended up having like an interview and like put my charm on and kind of, spit my game and got the job there.
At Creative Rex?
Yeah.
And what was your title there?
I was sales executive, account executive. That was the call.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that kind of catapulted you.
Yeah. And at that time, they were big. So like they really built up my resume from there.
So where were the stops from there on?
So from there, I was there for like 3 years, and then I went to this smaller kind of agency, which they had multiple brands, like
What's the name of
luxury
it?
brands. It was called Medium Concepts, nothing you would
Okay.
know, but they had a lot of international brands, so I was doing all their international management, so I would always go out to like, for all the trade shows in Paris, Germany, Berlin, was Milan. So for like a couple of years, I was just pimping it,
Yeah.
like jet setting it through Europe, which was dope. And then from there, I went to Pony, launched this kind of like their luxury kind of diffusion line, which actually was at first pretty dope. So we did a collaboration with Kith,
Yeah.
which was really dope. So backstory. So if you know Kith,
Kith or Atrium?
Kith.
Okay.
So I helped with that because I knew Ronnie from back in the day from Creative Recreation, because he used to be the buyer at David Z's,
Yeah.
and he was one of my accounts. So I met him from that, and he started doing all those collabs he was doing with like ASICS and Sebago, and then he did the Kith. So whenever I had opportunity to do a collab with like these brands I was working on, I was like, yo, hook it up. And he was always cool and was like, all right, we'll do something.
Nice.
So we did a collab with there. We also did a collab with DKNY, Mark McNary, opening ceremony. So like, I really had like a really good launch, but there were some internal issues, so I had to jump ship there, and then went to WESC, where I'm at now.
How long you been there?
It's almost 5 years almost now.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you do there?
So I am the brand director there, which I oversee distribution, manage their licensee partners, any type of collaboration. And when it comes to merchandising, I work with our creative director and our designers and kind of help them do a line plan where it's like, all right, this is what's trending. We need this, this, and this. Maybe we should do these colors, whatever.
That's
So-
a long ways from these sale account execs.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, I've always took advantage of opportunities when they came, you
Right.
know? And I think, when people say lucky, I've always liked to say, being prepared for, opportunities. So,
And if you were to look back and choose any sort of path other than the path you're on, what would you have chosen?
I wish I would have stuck with football.
Really?
My cousin, he plays for the Lions, so I'm always like, damn, should have stuck with it. Should have stuck with it.
Were you as talented and as athletic as your cousin?
I would like to think so, but he played for Alabama. And he has like 2 national rings, so
damn.
like, yeah, and he was highly like.
So
he's
that's
legit.
your like the dream job you would have stuck with.
I mean, it's the dream
what-
lifestyle.
Of course. What position did you play?
I played wide receiver.
Oh, that's right, 'cause you were a skinny guy back then.
Yeah,
You
and I was
probably would-
quick as fuck.
Yeah. We played basketball
Not
in a
now.
couple leagues. Remember that?
Yeah,
You're like, yo,
yeah.
pick me up. I needed some big men to play in the
Yeah.
power forward, center, and you played. And I'm giving you a lot of grief because I know you were out of shape back then. But I gotta,
Yeah. Oh,
dude, you were
that
walking-
was
you-
my partying days.
You
Like,
were running
too.
around like you had concrete cinder blocks in your face.
I did. Yeah.
And I remember you were struggling, and you'd come out in like timeouts or whatever, and I'm like, yo, do you need oxygen?
I probably did. I was like fucking Barkley, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably had a cheeseburger before.
How much weight have you lost? I know you don't do scales, but since then,
It's hard to say. I technically I literally last time I weighed myself was when I started working out in March. You got like a gym membership, and there's like, yo, you're at 271.
yeah, I remember you told me that. Yeah.
And that's how I got my vaccination early because I was
Obese, yeah.
obese. So I was dope. But yeah, so I think I just kind of pushed the limits because I've always, as younger, I was always be able to eat whatever I want, do whatever I
Yeah.
want, and then it kind of slowly that was changing, and
Yeah.
then COVID hit, and I was like, you know what, let's see how big I can get, and that was not a good idea.
Why would that be a good idea?
Yeah, so it hasn't been coming off as easy.
What are your goals and dreams now? And what kind of what motivates you to keep pursuing those?
It's hard to kind of answer that question because I get that a lot. Or people like, oh, what do you want to be in 5 years? Because year to year, I feel like my life's always changing and evolving, and I find new interests and loves and opportunities come that might take me to a different direction.
Right.
Like last year, I almost moved to LA. 'Cause I interviewed with Netflix to be one of the licensing
Oh yeah, you mentioned.
directors for one of their branded licensees, which I think it was.
Make sure to speak closer to the mic.
Oh
too,
yeah, my bad.
Bams is in the back right now, so he can't yell at you.
And like I had like 5 interviews for that, and it ended up not working out. But that could have took me a whole new direction,
Yeah.
So, I internally in the back of my head I do, but I don't get too stuck with them because I know at any time it can change, and I'm like I hate to turn down opportunities.
But what's interesting is you're definitely like the not typical, but like you have an artist mentality because
Yeah.
you see certain people and they're very motivated. Like you see, and they're like tunnel vision, and I've never seen you come across that way. You kind of almost like you're content, like no matter what. Like you are in the moment and you're not stressed about what's gonna happen in the future.
Yeah, I'm blessed. Growing up in school, like I was kind of a class clown, and I don't think any of the teachers really expected anything out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably didn't show that I had any interest, but I did. But I just feel blessed today that I'm in the positions I'm at now. Like, because if you look back to where I was in high school, then you're like, oh, this guy, he ain't going
Same
nowhere.
here for me, but for me, I've got like tunnel vision. I know I know like high goals and all that stuff. And not saying you don't have goals, but I
Yeah.
feel like you're just like you're more let it come to me as opposed to like.
Well, that's
Go.
how my life has kind of panned out so far. So I don't.
Lucky you.
If it, if it works, you don't got to fix it.
I
But
guess. I mean, hey, when you're pretty like this, you don't have to do much, right? By the way, Bams, you good? Yeah, we're good. All right, just making sure. All right. You've been to Outsiders, and I'm glad you've been part of it, and I'm glad I forced you by that.
official
ticket.
member. At first, I didn't get no recognition. He's like, join new to our crew. This person. I'm like, yeah, where's my shout out? And then
You're being interviewed right now, man.
And then hey, let me finish. And I got the shout out. He threw up a fucking fat boy picture of me with no shirt on.
that's right,
He was like,
right.
"It's our newest guy."
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
"Really?"
horrible. Why you put fat pictures of
We
people?
were on the beach. We'll take this as a photographer, man.
You
You
know?
want to be taking a photo
Wow.
of? Put your shirt on. And it didn't look terrible. He felt that way. It was fine.
No, it was funny. It was all good. And yeah, and then
What's your favorite part of Outsiders?
like my favorite
well,
like
Don't
activity.
get too far from the mic. No. I mean, you guessed what's your favorite activity, but I think I know the answer to that, and the answer to that probably biking, right?
Oh yeah, the biking was dope. Yeah.
But I think like some people like getting out in nature, some people like being outside, some people like being active, others love the community or for different reasons.
Yeah, definitely getting outside because definitely like majority of my friends are not doing any type of physical activity. I'm like an athlete at heart, and my body kind of craves these type of activity. So it's definitely good to have this outlet.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about like certain social circles, specifically the ones we've made through nightlife, being just stagnant and doing the same old thing. And part of the reason why I made you buy that ticket was because I wanted to show you what it was about, and I knew that you liked it, right?
Yeah.
But also because it's another way to be social without having to be in an environment where it's eating or drinking or late night or other stuff, So.
Yeah, and then you get to be around a group of people that you probably typically or normally wouldn't be socializing with, which is good because you can get to meet people that you normally wouldn't. So that's always fun.
Glad you like that. When you were younger, were you outdoorsy at all?
Yeah, 100%. Like my parents weren't outdoorsy, but like I would always just like do stuff. Like I remember I'd pinch a tent in my backyard and like try to build a tree fort. I would go fishing, but it was funny. So I used to go fishing, but the fish would scare me, like to take the hook out because you catch it and release. And
so what'd you do?
So I would just cut the line and throw them back in, which is funny because that kind of like followed me into adulthood. So I ended up going deep sea fishing.
I know this story. This is with an ex-girlfriend, and you went with her dad, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell the whole story?
So this is like when I started first dating this girl. She's from Oregon, and I flew out to meet her family, and I'm like, Oregon.
But first of all, what was her family like? What was what
So-
was she like?
White girl, probably majority of the girls, not all, majority, because I feel like I don't have any game. So it's usually the girls that come up to me, and the white girls love me. So I'm like, if they're pretty, I'm done. All right, good to go.
But you're saying white from the Northwest, which is like
Yes. So that's why I was like, oh shit, fucking. Then she was from like Pumpkin Bumpkin, like Eugene, Oregon. Like I had to like from the airport take like a bus, and I had like chickens and shit in there.
what?
I'm telling you, I'm not joking. Like she had like mountain lions in her backyard, and like no neighbors for 2 miles, and like wild turkeys running around. And I was like, oh shit. So I mean, her dad's like 6'5", 300 pounds. Probably like what I'm going to end up being. Big dude.
No, yeah, dude, them Pacific Northwest guys are fucking.
Yeah. So
bastards.
Yeah, giants.
he built their house himself.
Right.
But it's crazy because he's not from Oregon. He's from California. He like got married, and like he's like, all right, I'm bringing my family out to the woods. So anyway, man's man, fucking just drinks, like one of those like functional alcoholic type dudes. So, but he wasn't like alcoholic, but like he take down a lot. So he's like, all right, you like fishing? I was like, yeah. I'm thinking as a kid, like go to like the little lake around my house. He's like, all right, we're going to Puerto Vallarta. He has a timeshare out there. So we go out to Mexico, like with the family, like not just me and him.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I've got this fishing trip planned. We go out into at least 2 hours out into the water.
Yeah.
And he brings a suitcase. I was like, how long are we going to be out there? He's like, oh, no, it's just my booze. So he opens it up, has all types of bourbon, whiskey, and he had like a bucket of fried chicken we had with us too. So we go, and I have this all on video, which is crazy too.
Oh,
so
can you send that to me? We'll cut into this in the video.
That would actually be a good cut into.
Can we?
I'll have to find it.
All right. Yes.
So you had like the whole thing. You had the big pole. It's like in like a structure, and you have like on your hip. You have to wear this thing, and within like 15 minutes, I get a bite. I'm like, and like we have like a crew too that has a boat and like they help you, whatever. So I'm reeling it in. Literally, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I was reeling my catch in for at least an hour and a half.
Jesus.
Bring it up, comes I was like, what the? And like, it jumps out of the water, and I've never been in like nature like that in the ocean with like, and it was a 10-foot sailfish, which is
Okay.
like, I thought it was a marlin first. It has
Right.
the same kind of like
Oh,
nose.
yes,
And I was
yeah,
like,
Marlon
like,
with
what the
sim-
fuck is
that
that?
pointy-ass nose,
and
yeah.
he's like, yo, you gotta reel it. And like, yeah. So ended up getting in, and like in the video, so it's like her dad is like, and I'm just like, see my bangs pop. I'm like, oh, he's like, oh, tough guy, huh? He's like patting my arm,
Yeah.
like, don't touch me. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Finally get it in, and it's in the boat, and you see in the video, it's like flopping around. He's like, grab it. I was like, what do you mean grab it? This shit's bigger than me. And it's like all slimy and has all this like ocean ooze on it. And you can just see me as like looking like the biggest bitch. I'm like, oh. And I was like, grab it here, and like got these photos. And then they end up this clubbing on the head. I was like, ooh, that's grotesque. I guess I never really thought the process, and like the brains come out of his mouth. I was like, ooh, I just wanted to drink. I didn't know all this is part of it. So then they're like, oh, do you want to mount it? I was like, fuck yeah. And the guy's, oh, it's going to be $2,400. I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But it was good because her dad told me like, oh, because it was just like, now well-off Mexican guys are just like locals, or they end up feeding their family with that. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And like I hate seafood and fish,
Really?
but we caught a bunch of mahi, and he's like, no, you like this. And we cooked it fresh on the boat, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good. So, but I would never eat it again. But it was,
You don't eat seafood?
nah. Other than shrimp, I don't know. I can eat shrimp if it's fried,
Okay. Are you
crusted.
a texture eater?
No, I'm just a simple eater. I just like, I have my little group of foods that I like to eat, and that's
What do you
it.
eat?
What do you mean what I eat?
We'll find out. Hold on. We're not going to answer that question just
Oh,
yet.
he told me what you guys are eating.
No, I don't.
You're gonna enjoy
Let's
it.
continue, but I don't want to know yet. What advice would you give high school you?
High school me?
Yeah.
I would follow through.
Okay.
See things to the end. I feel like I quit a lot of things in my younger years.
Football.
Yeah, and just like, kind of like I never really kind of found, I felt like I was never had the feeling, oh, this is my, my path, or this is what I want. But I think
Yeah.
that's because I never really followed through. Like I always
Yeah.
thought it would just be a click. I'm like, this is what I need to do. This
Right.
is what I want to be. And I never felt that. So I would always just like jump thing to thing, trying to like find that fit.
Okay. That is great advice. What's a dream that you haven't achieved yet?
Be a homeowner.
Okay. Are you
That's
working
next.
towards that?
Yeah, that's.
And
yeah,
where would you
I'm not
buy?
even on my first step, but that's on my, my
If
purview.
you could purchase a house now, where would you want to purchase?
I think eventually I probably will end up in LA. I'm like I said, I'm kind of I feel like I'm a nature person. I like to be, outside of the city. Like I think the
Right.
city kind of eats away at you for a bit.
Oh, 100%,
So yeah.
So we'll have to have you on the outsider soon and recharge that battery.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
What is your most embarrassing moment? I know you got some good ones.
Oh, there's so many.
Oh, didn't
I don't
somebody
really get
didn't somebody
embarrassed.
spit in your face once?
That wasn't embarrassing, but yeah, someone did spit in my face.
That's just disrespectful.
At first it was, but
Yeah.
then it turned pretty.
Yeah, we don't have to tell the story if you don't want to.
No. No, you can go to my OnlyFans if you want to see that. No. Yeah, I don't get embarrassed. Like I'm just like a clown at heart, and I look at everything as not as a joke, but I can laugh at myself.
It's a very, very important trait to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share? Or you think that I missed asking you?
Well, yes. You can find me on IG as Dr. Venn, dr.venn.
No,
No,
we're
I'm
gonna
joking.
put that.
Don't worry.
I'm joking. I have like 100 followers. I ain't worried about that.
Are you private too?
Huh?
Are you private?
No. No. I guess
No one really cares.
no. I got a close knit type group of friends.
Wow,
Yes.
that's good, dude. Rephrase what you just said. That's kind of fucking hurtful.
No,
Nobody
I mean
really
like no
cares.
one really.
Oh yeah, damn, bro.
I was being a smart ass, but yeah.
Yeah, that was
Actually,
dark.
I just included it in my close friends Instagram story viewership.
Oh, so
I
you
just
saw the
created
good
one.
stuff over the weekend, huh?
Oh yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. I was in Atlanta. Guess where I went. All right, so the last segment of this interview is 5 rapid fire questions. I'm guessing you didn't know that. Have you watched an entire video yet?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, maybe you'll watch your own. So, 5 rapid fire questions. Ready?
Let's go.
What's your favorite NYC bar?
Rays.
Ray's.
Yeah.
Oh, on
Christie.
Really? That's fairly new, isn't it?
Well, it's my favorite right now.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I haven't been there yet.
It's my homeboy's place.
Was that?
It was one of my from when I worked back in the day at Ernest Stone. He was one of my coworkers.
Oh, Ray.
No, there is no Rays.
What's your biggest fear?
Not succeeding or losing my teeth.
Failure or losing your teeth?
You know how those dreams where you're like you
I
lose
was
your
gonna
teeth?
say, do you have those dreams? I have those dreams. I'm like, no. And
Yo,
I
that's
kinda realize I'm
true.
sleeping. I'm like sleeping. Like, oh wait, but I'm good.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
I'll
get
wake up
murdered
with a
like
beat.
10 times in my dream and I'm good, but losing my teeth, I'm like, oh, did I lose my teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have dreams where I like shave my head or my eyebrow accidentally.
You should probably look into
Yeah,
that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's your favorite city other than New York City?
LA.
And you'll be moving out there sometime.
Well,
soon.
you know, it's not that my favorite city. I just have so many good friends out there. I think it could be.
But that does make a city great when you have
Yeah.
network. But besides having a great network, what city do you appreciate for the actual city and the city's culture?
Is this domestic?
Anywhere, no, globally.
I really liked Cartagena. Like they had amazing fucking food. It's beautiful. Like I love the fucking beach, and there's beautiful women there.
Was
and
that the only Colombian city you've been to?
Outside of like layovers, yeah.
I've been to Medellin and Cartagena.
I heard
Beautiful
Medellin
place.
is yeah.
Beautiful. It's the eternal spring.
Yeah.
It's amazing weather. But Cartagena is beautiful. The old city is nice.
Oh yeah, I went on an amazing food tour, and
Really?
also did like a lot of like art, like like city wall art and stuff, and it was great.
What's your dream job?
Dream job? I think working for myself.
What would you do for yourself?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Like, it's definitely something creative within fashion, but that's been changing just because I'm, I don't know, like what's the word? I'm finding new talents about myself. I don't want to say finding, but discovering.
Discovery,
Yeah.
Oh, so you've actually been actively thinking about what you can do for yourself as far as like company-wise, like
Yeah.
entrepreneurship?
Yeah. My last kind of like ideas, I wanted to do kind of just like outerwear.
Perfect. Come up with something, man.
But I feel like I'm learning so much from my job. I have such a free range. And I'm wearing so many hats that I'm learning stuff that I thought I knew, but I didn't. That would be such a, important part of, developing your own brand. So I'm in no rush because I'm getting all this free education right now.
It sounds great. Like you sound like you're really feeling fulfilled by this current job because you're learning so much.
Yeah, it's a great job. Like, I have no complaints now. They just gave me a raise, so I'm
they
fat
hit you
chilling.
up for
Yeah,
that?
I've been at them for a minute.
I know, you were telling me last year. That's great.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I'm in a good place right now.
And you seem super zen. So, I mean, I know we don't have whiskey on the table, and that changes things up. Frank the Tank comes out.
A
but,
little loose.
My last question is, what's your favorite food?
So I knew this was gonna come, and I was like, I'm not a big foodie person. Like, I like going restaurants and whatever, but I'm not like, ooh, I need to try this new whatever.
Right.
I'm a simple eater. So I was like, what was the one thing that I consume every day? Daily.
Wow. Okay.
I'm very adamant about it. It's great for my body. You can see how got this beautiful skin.
Yeah.
got this, honey roast.
I'm not gonna. You do look young. You look a lot younger than what you are.
So,
When someone comes to the show with their favorite food in a CVS bag, it definitely raises an eyebrow.
I love water. Cold, crisp water. I drink it every day, probably 3 liters a day. I ain't joking, bro. Like, it's an important part of my life.
Okay.
I don't
Did
drink.
you see these waters here?
No, I don't drink coffee.
We have a water
soda.
partner, and you just brought out a competitor to the table.
Oh. No, but seriously though, like outside of alcohol, I don't really. Water's all I drink.
Really?
Yeah.
But what about food?
Well, I
Well,
consume
I know
water, so I consume
obviously,
this
right,
as
right,
food.
okay. I get it. You like water. If you have a favorite food, what is your favorite food?
I don't think I have a favorite food. That's.
Oh God.
I know. I could say something, but it's gonna be something boring. Like.
Listen, I agree with him. I don't have a favorite food either. Like
A go-to food, a comfort food, a favorite snack.
It changes.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I know. I'm not a food. I know. It's annoying. I'm not a food person. Like. Yeah.
Okay, when you
Okay. Wait. I like sandwiches. See, I'm telling you, yeah. That's my favorite, sandwiches.
I like sandwiches too, so I can't knock it. But listen, it's been interesting having you on the show.
Wow. Yeah.
Appreciate you. I do appreciate you sharing the story. This is the weirdest end to the show. Actually, no, one other person
I'm gonna get some
showed
of
up,
this
and she's like, I was too busy, so I'm going to describe the food, and described her food. But water is very important. I'm glad you drink a lot of water. Good for you.
It is, man.
I appreciate you having on the show. There you go. I would have gotten more of those.
What is this?
It's water.
Well, where's the name at? I thought this was your
It's in there. Look.
Oh, you want some fancy shit? All right.
Yeah, it's a cool name. Eternal water.
Eternal, yeah, eternal beauty.
Mm-hmm. Just like you.
My mama tells me that every day.
Man, it's been nice to actually get to know you more outside of what I've already known about you, and get to know your story, because I didn't really know your full story.
Yeah, man, you got to have me on again so then I can learn more about you.
Oh, if you want to interview me, let's do it. We're gonna do a couple.
yeah, we're planning on some revamp stuff. We're gonna have like a little, maybe like a couch and some smoking section stuff like that.
Yeah, like almost like
seriously, yeah.
Insider's lounge, outsider's lounge, or whatever.
And we could call it Inside with Outsiders After Dark. Like
After dark? What is this?
No. You know what?
Get them nipple clamps on.
Oh, man.
All right, there you go. Yeah, we get some nipple clamps. Stuff.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Yeah, remember BET After Dark?
Mm-hmm.
They used to have all the
the ratchet
videos.
videos.
Yes.
That's the first time I heard My Neck, My Back. That song. That's the first time I heard that track. And they used to, it was like borderline porno meets music
they
videos.
had Tip Drill. Remember Nelly's Tip Drill? They had all the strippers naked on that shit.
What's funny is that show came on after Midnight Love. So it was like Midnight Love on BET. They played all like the top R&B, like Donnell Jones, Maxwell, all kinds of stuff. You watch it with a girl, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's over, and then comes on. What was it? What was it? The midnight? What was the name of that?
BET After Dark.
After Dark, exactly. It was like a strip club on TV.
And then there's also Black Cat. That was like one of the public access channels that
Really?
had like random videos on there. Yeah.
Great stories. Well, we'll have you back when we have like a few other people on there on the show, and we'll get some cigars going or something. I don't know. We'll come up with a theme. We haven't planned this out yet. We're just talking.
All right, for sure. I'm down.
Right. Well, but on another note, you said you need to get outside, get on the outsiders. Come out again. We got plenty of stuff.
Yeah,
going
what's
on.
up with the snowboard trips? You want to be forward next year?
Well, actually, we're gonna do some snowboard trips. We're gonna do working it out so that we can get transportation on a whim. So like if there's a snowstorm coming, we can get it without having to organize weeks in advance. And secondly, we're organizing destination trips. So
you got to do the Japan trip again.
We can do that, but right now what's lined up is Iceland for New Year's. Yeah.
Where is that
I'm announcing next week.
I've been looking for a New Year's trip.
So Iceland, New Year's, Jamaica in February, Zion National Park in April, which I know I think you'd enjoy that. Zion National Park and Antelope Canyon,
Where's that?
Utah and Arizona,
Okay.
and then Sardinia in June. A friend has a huge villa. It's actually my birthday too. So
Yeah, about
that's what I'm
time.
Exactly. So
looking forward to going to
then
that other year.
Panama, November, Tanzania, and Zanzibar the next year.
I'm with that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know you are for sure. So I hope to see you on the destination trips. I can see it'd be a good time. Like, we'll talk about that after the cameras turn off. But in the meantime, again, thank you very much for partaking in this interview. We'll love to have you back, and
Yeah.
appreciate the fact that you're part of the Outsiders.
Peace.
Peace.